let's bring in right away Robbie Earle to discuss what's going on in the Premier League. And Robbie, the news continues to be incremental growth, small-sided training, with training with the full squads getting closer in a couple of weeks, and now a date potentially on the schedule to get the Premier League back. What's been your view of all of this happening in the last couple of weeks?
That this has been a huge week for English football, Mike. Make no mistake, the Premier League, if the Premier League doesn't get started and finished this season, I'm not just talking about the 20 clubs in the Premier League, the highest level of football in England, but there's a pyramid that goes below that, and the Premier League monies gets trickled down and filtered through that pyramid. And it was so important that the Premier League made a couple of big steps forward, and I think we've seen those. You've mentioned the full contact training that started this week that was approved by all 20 clubs. So we can go back to 11v11 contact because it's a contact sport. And then the second thing that had to happen, we needed a date. We needed to draw a line in the sand and say, when will the Premier League restart? Now we've got that date. We've been told from reliable sources, and we're still waiting, we have to say, Mike, for the official word from the Premier League. And you can imagine it's probably breaking now as we're on air. So maybe you can do a little reminder to people after this. But June the 17th is going to be the start of the 2 games that are the extra games that teams need to play to catch up. So Manchester City versus Arsenal is one. Aston Villa versus Sheffield United in particular is a huge game for both those clubs. Aston Villa sit in the bottom 3 at the moment. If they were to win that game, they go out of the relegation spots. Sheffield United, they're vying for a European Champions League even position. You know, their first season back in the Premier League under Chris Wilder has been a magnificent season. So 2 important games to kick off June the 17th, and then we go to the full weekend. There will be June the 20th and 21st, and there is some talk about there might be a game on Friday the 19th, a few on Saturday, a few on Sunday, possibly even a Monday game. We're yet to fully understand that, but that will be the start when all the teams will play and the season will kick off. And so exciting news, I think, for Premier League fans, that it looks like Project Restart has had a real kickstarter in getting going. We're looking forward to the next 3 weeks.
Robbie, one of the things we are continuing to ask as the NHL and the NBA and all the leagues start putting out their ideas, or in the NHL's case, a concrete plan on a way to get back to play. One of the things we keep asking is what's going to happen when positive tests happen. Well, the Premier League has had 2,752 tests done to this point, and there have been 12 positive tests, yet the short side, small side training is continuing. So that may give us a little hint as to how things might go going forward with all sports around the world.
Yeah, I think all sports, a lot of sports will be looking how the English Premier League do and what's contained. You've talked about the number of testing, and the number of positive tests so far have been really low. And once a test, something comes back positive, that person's self-isolated, taken away from the group so they can't infect the other players there. I think the thing to say that unanimously the 20 clubs have so far voted for the resume to full contact. They voted for this date, although we're hearing 1 or 2 clubs would prefer maybe a week later start than June 17th, somewhere around June the 26th. But listen, we're never going to have a perfect storm in this situation. But I do think that the confidence the Premier League have taken, the steps they've moved forward, is because it's been underpinned by that high number of testing, being tested twice a week, 50 or 60 people in your franchise, players, auxiliary staff, coaching staff. I think because the numbers have been kept so low, there's a confidence now that the Premier League can move forward and hope to hopefully not only restart the Premier League but finish the Premier League around that August 1st, 2nd date that you talked about.
And for a lot of us in the U.S. watching what's going to happen with sports here, this may be some of the answer. If there is a positive test, does it shut down the sport in its entirety? Let me ask you one last question, Robbie, and thanks for hopping on short notice here. The Bundesliga in Germany has restarted. We've seen a couple of weeks of matches, fixtures there. What have you seen in the quality and level of play there as they've come back?
Been hugely impressed. Intensity of football. Nobody really shirking away from challenges or having full body contact. Players committed to the game. The concentration levels and fitness levels, I think, have been excellent. I'd have to say as well, and I was a sceptic of this, Mike, before. I'm a football purist, as you very well know. I don't like my football diluted. But piping in some noise by one of the broadcasters was an option for viewers to have, so you could watch it with or without the crowd noise. I have to say, that little bit of crowd noise, that little bit of cheering, that little bit of anticipation as a ball round the goal, I thought was excellent. And as an old sceptic as I am, that might be something the Premier League have looked at and offer maybe to Premier League fans around the world.
Well, like American sports fans, there's one guarantee. You're never going to find anything that gets unanimous approval with Premier League fans. But we can get back perhaps to the debates and the conversations if this does happen. We'll keep you updated on the news. Robbie, thanks for hopping on at short notice. We appreciate it.
Pleasure, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.